for that. Now, let's have more from our editor-at-large, Ahmed Alioğlu, who's in Leicester in the UK for us. Ahmed, so when we look at today, Tariq said here that under the rule of Sisi, some people actually are thinking back to those days of Hosni Mubarak and that it was better.
Well, definitely this is the case among lots of people who've been on social media very active. They even launched a Facebook site saying, "We are sorry, Mubarak, we are sorry, our president," after the ousting of Mohammed Hosni Mubarak and the reinstating of the general's rule by General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Now, what's happening is on the ground, the complete failure of the current Egyptian government on every aspect, whether in terms of the economy, in terms of the politics, in terms of the dealing with the opposition. At least Mohammed Hosni Mubarak tried to keep the sovereignty of the state or its reputation, its image among its allies, even with the United States. When he used to be received in the White House, he used to be received as a president, and his prime minister or his foreign minister is used to receive as by his counterparts in a respected manner. But now the people here in Egypt, when they speak about Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his image in the international arena, it's unlike Mohammed Hosni Mubarak at all. In terms of the domestic policies, now Mohammed Hosni Mubarak used to give some room to political parties. Even the Muslim Brotherhood, they were elected in the parliament. More than 100 MPs were from the Muslim Brotherhood during Mohammed Hosni Mubarak's presidency. But in terms of Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, his complete crackdown on the dissent, and especially the Muslim Brotherhood and the other opposition parties, they're all in jail. The leaders have been in jail. Now, the irony is, to be honest, like Aicha, is the burial of Mohammed Hosni Mubarak and how the current regime is going to deal with. Now, or a couple of minutes ago, the presidency of Egypt declared or extended their condolences to the family of Mohammed Hosni Mubarak, and they described him as one of the patriots of the nation and the country who participated in the 1973 war with Israel. He is one of the icons of Egypt now. And when you compare it to what happened with Mohammed Morsi, who died a couple of months ago, the way they dealt with, they never allowed even his family to witness the burial, and they didn't give him a decent funeral. Now we're going to see in the coming few days or hours how the regime is going to deal with Mohammed Hosni Mubarak, who's been perceived by many as a dictator, as an ally to Israel, the enemy of the Arab world, and an ally to the United States, and a dictator who oppressed the people for more than 30 years, who was a tyrant in terms of the election, who was not even elected in a decent or transparent election. When you compare it to Mohammed Morsi, who came as the first democratically elected president and who ruled just for 1 year, and he was persecuted and he was jailed for more than 5 years, and then he was left to die in the courtyard without any interference from the medical people there. Now, this is the comparison that the people of social media are taking to discussion.
And do you think we will hear from leaders around the world?
Definitely, Mohammed Hosni Mubarak, if you want to put 3 titles for him, he was a very strong and close ally to the United States, to Washington, and he was the most important and strategic ally or friend to Israel, and he was the oppressor of the Islamists, if you will, or the political Islamic movement, especially the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, in terms of the international community, he has good relations with all the used to have good relations with all the European countries, and the United States in particular. Now, these countries may not be willing to offend the aspirations of the Arab people or the Arab nations, because Mohammed Hosni Mubarak is, to be honest, like a symbol or an icon of the dictators that the Arab Spring started or came to the forefront in order to topple them and to get rid of their dictatorship and tyranny. Now, if these leaders in the international community are willing to still keep their image with the Arab nations, they would refrain from commenting on this. But now, if you come to the Egyptian leaders, even among the opposition, one of the leaders, Mohammed Mahsoub, who used to be the Minister of Justice in Morsi's government, wrote a tweet and tweeted sending his condolences to the Egyptian people after the death of Mohammed Hosni Mubarak. And Mohammed al-Baradei, who used to be the Prime Minister and one of the opposition leaders, also condoled Mohammed Morsi and the Egyptian people for the death of Mohammed Hosni Mubarak. And many of the celebrities in Egypt are condoling him. Now, this is happening basically because of the kind of extreme polarization in the Egyptian society, that people are being polarized and divided by the Sisi and its media outlets that are trying to put people into different poles. Either you're with the government or with the regime, with Sisi, or you're with the Muslim Brotherhood, with the other camp, with the terrorists and the radical groups. These kind of sentiments coming out from the Egyptian leaders who used to be in the camp of the opposition show how polarized the society is and how they're looking for a common ground against Sisi. We'll see how the international will react in the coming few hours, Aisha.
Well, thank you very much for that insight there, Ahmed Alioglu. Well, for more analysis, I'm joined by political analyst Mohammed Al-Masri, who joins us from